Welcome to the Delight Your Marriage podcast. You're joining me, Belah Rose, as I dive deep into the beauty, power, and truths about intimacy. Learn not only the practicals, but the heart behind what making love is all about. Delight your marriage. All right, welcome. I'm so grateful that you are here. This is part 2 of my interview with my husband, and he just continues this beautiful conversation around really revealing the man that he is and why I'm so attracted to him. Because of who he is, not because of some highfalutin thing that the men listening can't become. It's actually the things they can become, the attitudes and the perspectives and the character that they can emulate. That's what women are really craving. So I'm so excited for you to listen to this second part. So let's go ahead and dive in.
I don't know if I said this before when I said, if when you were a kid and you wanted a person, when that person wasn't there, and then be that person with your kids, that you didn't have it. Well, my dad, he did the best that he can to love me. Yeah. Not the best dad. Man, I hate this man for so many years, what he has done to my mom. I hate so much, and I feel like I did not have peace in my heart. Even some of my siblings, that they keep telling me that, I want to talk that because the way that he... And I feel like I did not have peace because I have not forgiven him until I feel like I'm like, you know what? I don't have peace. And if I made a mistake with my kids, when they grow up, they will say, I don't want to talk to D. I don't want to talk to my dad because he said these things to me. Like, no, I want to have peace in their heart by forgiving that person. Because, our dads, I feel like, love us the way that they think is best. Yeah. It did not show. We did not feel that it was love, yelling at us or tell us all certain things that did not help us to be a better human beings. And that impact for the rest of our lives. And we pass through our kids. And I feel like I decided I'm not want to do that to my kids. Yeah. I want to do that on positive way. And now, I love my dad and we are okay. At least in my heart, I'm okay. I'm not want to impress anyone about I'm doing better than you or better than them, or I feel like I know I'm doing the best that I can for me, for my wife and my family, and that reflects everything around it. And
that's
yes,
awesome,
that's
man.
what I was.
That's awesome. Couple other things I'd love to jump in. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. So one thing he said is he feels honored that I share my emotions with him. And as a wife, that is a very powerful statement and a powerful way of thinking. I really can't express what an aphrodisiac that is. That attitude towards my emotions, towards my feelings, draws me to him like nothing else. So my invitation to you, dear husband, is that just see if you can write this down, put it on your phone, like remind yourself over and over and over again this phrase: I feel honored that she shares her emotions with me. I feel honored that she shares her emotions with me. One thing I wanted to say is what happens sometimes, or a lot of times I think, is that men will listen to my podcast and I'll talk about Penny, I'll talk about intimacy, I'll talk about freedom for a wife and all these things, and they'll think in their head, I wish my wife felt like that. Well, let me tell you, dear gentlemen, while women are listening to this podcast, when they're listening to my husband speak, they are feeling that way in their heart. I I wish my husband was like that. Oh, I wish my husband was like that. Like literally, there are heart pangs and hurts and wishes that their husband had the character of the man I get to sit beside. That's why I am the way I am in intimacy, because this is who my husband is. I cannot, like, again, I'm getting chills. I cannot underscore that enough. Like even, by God's grace, this Masculinity Reclaimed program just kicked off. We're at the second week. I'm already seeing big changes in people's marriages. Like God does this, but you have to change who you are on the inside. And, somebody even just emailed me, I think a couple days ago, to say that his wife is doing things in intimacy she's never done in years, never done. And yet she doesn't even know he's doing the program. So God is a God that transforms, but as a man, you have the opportunity of transforming who you are. So again, this may feel like, oh, I'm a focused guy. I want a topic and I want to dive into the intellectual piece and all that. That's great. But what I really believe is this phrase that a lot of entrepreneurs say is you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You really catch more than you are taught. And so the way that really every episode that I have my husband on here, you have an opportunity of catching the spirit that he lives, like who he is. You get an opportunity to just hang out with him. So yeah, maybe he's less like topic focused and oriented but you catch what's on the inside of his heart. And so my invitation for you is listen to those things over and over and over again, because what that does is it changes you as a person. You start to say, wow, there's a different way of being. I could be different on the inside. And what if that would attract my wife? What if I would be a better human before Jesus? What if it would matter in eternity? Because all of those things, I believe, biblically speaking, are true. So I just wrote down a ton of things to say, and none of that was on it. But I'll let you comment.
No, but this thing that it comes to my mind all the time, that if I think I'm doing this me, I'll get the credits me, I'll get the rewards me, I feel like, and then I will crush me. But if you get the credits to God, whether victories, the things that my kids are saying, doing, I'm saying, doing, our jobs, I feel like, and then God is one who provides everything, is one to make a way for us. I feel like if every morning that if we wake up, and you see your wife or your husband aside from you, I feel like that's the woman, that's the man that you choose to marry. What a great thing that she get to choose you, that he get to choose you, to wake up every morning instead of be angry. I feel like that sometimes as hard it can sound like be ungrateful when we are like, no, I deserve this, so I have it. Yeah. We don't deserve anything. We don't deserve anything in this world. And yet we have it. I wasn't planning when I was 15 years old. I wasn't planning to have a wife or kids or a job or anything like that in this world. We did not know what our kids want to look like. We don't know in 10 years what our lives is going to look like. We don't know tomorrow is going to look like. I feel like if until we realize what we have, and that will start softening and start making ways for you to realize how blessed you are. Just to have someone on your side, just to have a place where you get to live, to have a bed where you get to sleep, soft and comfortable, a roof, water, food for you to eat. I feel like all the things that you have, if you look around, those things, that you don't deserve those things. If you do deserve those things, I feel like that will hurt you. That will hurt you really bad, I think. Because I feel like none of these things I deserve. I'm just grateful that I have. And why not honor that the things that I have, the family that I get to have, the wife that I get to have. And I feel like just that every single day. Like I said again, I wasn't used to be like this. I wasn't like this. I was just though I wake up tomorrow and it's the same thing, just kind of like have that secureness that tomorrow will come and you'll leave. You don't have the insurance like a car has. You break that car and then you get insurance pay for it. If something happens tomorrow, what the secureness or insurance you'll have that you'll have another you tomorrow. This is the only body, the only life you get to live.
Yeah.
Why not honor that body and the ones around you?
Yeah.
Even if they hurt you. I had this struggle with these things too. Because people hurt me, whether physically, mentally, and I sometimes it comes and I, pray and I say, God, you're the only one know why you did this.
Yeah.
And I leave it up to you.
Yeah.
And, give me a lot of peace in my mind. It's not easy. It's not easy. It takes some years sometimes. And we think that it will. Sometimes we say we wish that we can fix the problem in like seconds. And that is impossible, because otherwise you start fixing the things in seconds and you don't enjoy how you fix it.
Yeah.
You don't see how you fix it.
Yeah.
You don't see how it's putting all things together.
Yeah.
With my kids, I keep talking about kids because doctors were saying different things. The doctors were telling me that I can't have kids. Wow. Not one, not two, but 3 doctors. Wow. And then I told my kids that I'm like, yeah, this is what the doctors they told me, and then here I am, 2 children, and for I don't know, just all those things. I feel like it's amazing. I feel like it's amazing my life how it turned out to be. Like sometimes I used to you get angry with God when things don't go in your way that you plan to be. And then after years later, and then you didn't think about what you went through. You just know you have it, and you work for that. You have it. I feel like if we think back, how you ended up there in your place, in your home, apartment, whatever it is, right. You have a car, yeah. And if something happened with your family, you have a car, you can drive. I feel like those things, until we start being grateful and realize things what you have, that you don't deserve your wife or your husband or your kids. Yeah. But yet God has given you a wife and the kids and a husband and family and a community, and a place for you to have, a job for you to have. Yeah. And I feel like that's more that you ask, but we always want more. Right? Sometimes my kids argue with each other, there explain that it's okay. Me and my older brothers, we do the same thing. It's part of, I feel like that we're growing. Now we are very close to each other.
Can I add some?
Yeah.
So one thing about arguing siblings, I will say that one thing that my husband and I do a lot is we help the boys know that they're best friends and that we respect our siblings, that we respect our brother. So even though, yes, they do that at times, and, our job as parents is to constantly redirect that behavior, because siblings can deeply wound each other at a very young age. So my encouragement to any parent who doesn't think that's a big deal, I think it's a huge deal and a real problem that I think parents need to keep in mind so that it's a good relationship. Because what my husband just said, he's actually had to surmount very big issues between him and his siblings because they weren't stewarded at a young age to be kind to each other. Is that okay if I said that?
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, it's difficult sometimes, but I feel like just to be grateful. Man, if you can be grateful, things will change.
Yeah.
If you could be just grateful in the morning, you get to wake up, you get to see things, you get to experience things. You don't know what that day is going to look like. Only God knows. This is one of the things when I pray to my kids, if I may share. I'll say, dear God, I don't know what you have in their future, my kids' future, because I don't know their future, what it's going to look like. So I just trust you that you are going to be part of their future. That when they're coming weak, when they're struggling, that always calling your name, so that you can enter in their heart and their soul and their spirit, because I don't know what their future is going to look like. I wanted to fix their problems. I know that's not helpful, neither for me or for them. But I know that God knows their future, and I just ask Him that to be with them. That whatever the struggle comes, because we all have. No human being, I feel like, will live the life wonderfully. I feel like someone will have roughly, someone will have kind of, but eventually we all will have desperation. We'll have all things that sometimes we feel all the doors are closing from us, and that's not a good feeling. I've been there. Trying to commit suicide, not one or twice, but trying to commit suicide, and now here I am with a family. That's crazy. So I pray that if you pray with your kids, whether they're older, just pray with them. It doesn't matter. God knows what their future is, and He always is with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much, honey. Is it okay if I go through some of the... Okay, so one thing that you mentioned that I thought was really powerful, especially, is around... we have, I think, as humans, this temptation to believe that we earned everything we have. And I think it's a deeper root of we want the glory. We want the credit. And I see that temptation all around in my own heart. Like, I want the credit when people's lives are changed. I want the credit when, and yet, it's God's grace that He gives me breath in my lungs. It's God's grace that I have a voice. It's God's grace that there are books that I have read and learned. It's God's grace that I was taught to read when I was young. It's God's grace I was born in America so I could live in a place that had good education systems. It's God's grace that I was born in a level of income that I have even the ability to understand computers. It's God's grace that I'm at a spot now where I'm utilizing a technology that I did not build. I don't understand even how it works, but I get to use it. It's God's grace that there are people out there that have taught me different things throughout my life. It's God's grace that I live in an area that has a park, and the park is beautiful. But you know what? Generations before me wanted to make sure that me, as the next generation coming, had a place that was going to be green, and they protected the environment, and they picked up the trash. And it's God's grace that people and generations have come before me so that I can have what I have today. Because I don't deserve who I am today. I don't deserve this. God, and I can credit God, God used those people so that I have the life I have today. So God gets the glory, but He uses people for that to happen. And I think that's so powerful because it's it's really the heart of pride to say, I earned this. I have the life I have because I earned it. And that's not true. God gave you the grace to have every little detail that you have. And I think really holding on to that is making you in a much really safer position in this world. Because the truth of the matter is we could all lose it tomorrow. Like my husband said, like your family could die in a car crash tomorrow. Like you could die in a car crash. You could face judgment day tomorrow. Like any of those things that could happen. You could lose all your finances in the stock market. A lot of people are suffering right now financially. If you base your life upon the gratitude that all of this is a gift, it makes you much safer in the long run, that you appreciate everything you have today, and tomorrow you're going to appreciate whatever it is that you wake up to tomorrow. And again, these are temptations in my own heart too. This is not something I have achieved, but it is something I want. I want to live a life of gratitude before Jesus. It even says you're a sacrifice of praise. And I feel like there's another verse that says something like a sacrifice of thanksgiving. Like I will submit myself to thanksgiving, to thankfulness before God.
I want to say, when you say the Bible, you say love your neighbor as love yourself, something like that. I feel like a lot of times that I did not love my neighbor because it's annoying, play loud music, smokes a lot, screams a lot, and I feel like, I don't know what's in this human being's life.
Yeah.
I don't know what he struggles. I don't know. I just gotta love him and accept him. Yeah. It doesn't matter what it looks like, how much money he or she has. Yeah. I just gotta accept it and forgive it instead of judging, because I feel like maybe just me or a lot of us human beings we cannot pretend that we don't judge anyone, because we do judge. We do judge, and we cannot pretend. I am doing my best not to, but sometimes it comes, I feel like, oh, what I'm doing, people are judging me too, because I'm a human being, and I feel like that's okay. But also be aware of, I am doing this thing. I am not. Who am I to judge this person? Whatever saying or looks or anything, And I feel like I forgot what I was going to say, but yes, this is what the thing I was going to say. Happy Father's Day to all the dads up there.
Yes.
If you're a dad, happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing for your family, for your kids.
Yeah.
And for being an amazing dad. And if you think you're not, you are. Always encouraging one another. We have our own challenges. Hug your kids. Ladies, single parents, you're doing an amazing job to do both. Because I know a lot of single parents that they do both, and man, I'll tell you, it's a hard work. Yeah. So I appreciate you providing for your family, for your kids, even if take that extra job for you to provide some food for your family. So I thank you, and happy Father's Day, and just remember to be grateful. You don't deserve the family that you have. Just God has provided you the family that you have, and you get to enjoy. Hug your kids. Pray every single night if you can. Read the Bible. One thing that sometimes when we were watching a movie, me and my wife, and then I said, okay, I'm going to put the kids to sleep. So I put the kids to sleep, and, I just want to put the kids to sleep because I want to finish the movie. And then my kids, they say like, Papi, can you stay a little longer with us here? And first I got a little upset because I feel like, no, I just already put him to sleep. Yeah. Now you need to sleep. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute, my son asking me to stay for those minutes with me. Because when he's 20 years or whatever long, he won't ask me for those things. Yeah. He won't ask me. And then those times I will say, I wish that he will ask me and I stay. So why not, while they're asking me, that I should stay? So I just stay extra minutes, and and I felt great that I caught myself on the moment that the things that I should do, I must do as a father. If it's an emergency, I have to let him know it's an emergency. But I feel like if just for my pleasant to watch these things, that can wait.
Yeah.
But my kids cannot wait. They're growing every single minute. They're learning every single minute. And I feel like just by doing that, if your kid says, play with me, or buy me ice cream. I don't, we don't really buy ice cream. But when they say it, I feel like, okay, maybe next week. And they will remember the next week. And then, like, yes, okay, you know what? Yes. I'm doing the best that I can, and I know you as a dad doing the best that you can too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. Yeah. Keep doing the hard work.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy. You want your kids to be safe.
Yeah.
You want your family to be safe. And then you go to work thinking about, especially when something's not right with your family, where you have issues with your spouse, and then you can't focus. I feel like just think about that with your family and your spouse, that when you come home, you hug your kids. In this case, when I used to come late from work, they're always sleeping, so I just hug in the morning, even if I'm tired, because they're not going to be kids forever. They'll be growing. They will see what's ahead, and I will see what's in their future. But I'm sure I'll talk the next time. I think that's it for today. God bless you, and please do invest in your kids so we can live a better human beings in this world. So they can invest on their friends, and they can live another best community in this world, so we can be safe. And my wife just asked me if I can pray. I can pray. I like praying. Dear Father, Father, I wasn't prepared for this call. I just believe that you give me the words that I needed to say. I pray for this, every human being that has been listening to this podcast, that it's been listening to countries. God, I pray for their countries, their states, their towns, their cities, that they will be the reflection of you.
Yes, God.
That other people feel safe because they are there in their country. Yeah. People will be safe because they're in their community, because they see that that human being of you, it's plenty there in their community. And as they see them, they feel safe and they feel comfortable. And I pray that all those dads up there, that let them know that you love them. We are not perfect, but we have the time to do a better today, tomorrow, to be a better fathers, to be a better husbands, a better human beings, God, to honor our wives.
Yes. That
she choose us to be with them. That she chooses us to be with them, to be married with you. God, I pray for safety in their homes.
Yes.
For safety everywhere they go, to work, to bring their families, God. Bring all those families together that are struggling.
Yes.
Bring all those spouses that are struggling. They're thinking about separated. God, that they're getting divorced. God, I pray that you you bring them together.
Yes.
That they can see that you're miracles.
Yes.
God, that they can sit and they can reflect what has been given to them. God, there is a lot of distractions in this world. I pray that you not let that distraction to be deeper in our hearts. God, that everywhere we go, we bless others in their communities. Everywhere we go, God, that people will feel safe because we are there.
Yes.
God, thank you so much for for the listeners, God, that for all these countries, bless them everywhere, whatever you are not alone, that God is with you.
Yes, Lord.
Even when you put in the kids to sleep, that God is with them. God is with you, with your husbands, with your mom and dad. Yes. They just love us the way that they think is best. Forgive them, forgive us. And I just pray that that we realize how honor us as a human beings to have the things that we have. Let us not our hearts to take in another way, God. That let us our heart to take on your way.
Yes, Lord.
God, that we see the way. I pray to bless them everywhere they are.
Yes.
With their families, when they get to sleep, when they wake up, when they have dinner together, breakfast together, give them rest, give them peace, and to be kind one another, and to listen what the needs of one another. In Jesus' mighty name.
Yes, Lord.
Amen.
Amen. All right. So officially, my husband will now be taking over the podcast.
No, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank God. He actually listens to every single podcast I produce before it's posted because he's amazing, as you can tell. So anyway, thanks again for listening, and we love you. And I pray that this is a really encouraging conversation for you, and we'll talk next week. Mwah. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Amazing. Thank you so much for listening. I want to say, if you do go ahead and leave an iTunes rating and review, if you use like an iPhone, you can do it there. Or if you use even a Windows computer, you can do it. If you're not sure how, with an iPhone, just search Delight Your Marriage and then scroll down, and then it'll have the stars, and you can click 5 stars and do the write a review. Then send me a screenshot of that review at Belah, BELAH, at delightyourmarriage.com. And I'll actually send you a couple of free videos that are part of my Wild Romance. Basically, it's a $97 value, and it's currently only available to my current students. So it's a great value. People have said it's been really helpful already for them to implement the different ideas. And there's the second video is about make sure you don't get these things wrong, or it's going to undermine everything. So I really would love all the husbands to get that. And all you need to do is just leave an iTunes review. And I would so appreciate it. It means the world to me. And it also means that more people can listen to this work. So thank you. All right. God bless you. And we'll talk next week. Bye.